It is, I believe the video is rolling and you are in the action process. This is where you begin, where you address your audience, and voila, monsieur. Good luck on your next video. It is going to get next to nothing or nothing, perhaps, when it comes to views. All right. Video 3. Welcome back, everybody. Everybody. Who is everybody? It's not like anybody's watching this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm having fun. The 2 videos I made before this, it was... Yesterday's video was actually much better than the day before, which was Monday. Today's Wednesday. No, Thursday. So I did it on Tuesday. Wednesday, today's Thursday. Right. Anyway, I was actually going to come home. I mean, I just got off work recently. And I was going to come home and make a joke about the crazy views I got and the amount of comments that I need to go through and reply to. Like, ho, you know, this video did so well. But I can't really pull that joke anymore because, to my surprise, I know this means nothing to most people or you know, other channels. But the fact that I got 48 views in less than a day, when I barely have anybody subscribed, or you know, whoever subscribed maybe doesn't even pay attention because they have like a list of other subscriptions they're part of. Anyway, I gotta stop saying anyway. I noticed in my previous video I say anyway over and over. I'm like, yo, stop doing that. And also in my first video I noticed I kept doing this. I would lean back, cover my mouth, lean back, cover my mouth. Like, wow, like, it's crazy. Like, when you record yourself, you start realizing the little things that you do that's annoying. At least, you know, now that I am conscious of it, I'm aware of it, and it really helps you to see how you actually behave, how you move, how your, you know, facial expressions are all over the place, at least with mine. And I never thought about it that way. I thought I just everything was normal, you know. Anyway, stop saying anyway. So, I know, I stopped myself. I almost said, wait. So, 48 views. Whoever watched it, thank you. That's actually impressive. And when I look at my stats, I got 4 likes. To me, that's incredible. Like, somebody actually enjoyed that video. Somebody took something from that video. It somehow, I hope, it was valuable enough for the time they invested in that video. All right, moving on. I mentioned from yesterday's video that I'm going to make at least 2 videos where I'm going to break down some designs I've done in the past. I changed my mind. I'm actually going to do more than 2 videos. I have some, you know what, several designs, at least it's like a short list of designs that I like, and I want to make videos about every single one of them. Why? Well, several reasons. One, it's helping me become very comfortable, get more and more comfortable in front of the camera. 2, I can actually break down what I was doing, and to be honest, when I'm designing, it's almost like I'm not really thinking, I'm just doing. So the fact that I have to sit here and break down what I was doing is forcing me to think about what I was really doing, what I was really thinking, and how all this has been put together. And hopefully I can answer why it was put together. What's the purpose of this design? What did it serve? Not much, I guess. It was mainly for fun. Anyway, let me have a sip. So yeah, before I get started, I just got off work recently. Thank God my boss let me go earlier today. He was really happy. He's like, Aras, what time is it? Like, basically it was 12:22 when I checked my time. He's like, go home. Really? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Bernie. That's what I call him. That's one of my bosses. I call him Uncle because he's just that guy. He's just that uncle figure. Uncle Bernie. Short little French man. The guy's just a character. The things he says randomly. Nobody does demo like me. I have 37 years of experience. Yeah, buddy. We will do a real demo today. He'll crack you up. Honestly, he's great. So, you're here because you want to see this design. Alright, I'll get to it. So, what you're seeing here is the sketch, the final sketch that I did. For what? Well, okay, first of all, I didn't do this for a project or anything particular. I just wanted to design a medieval tavern. That's it. Like, that was the objective. That was the design goal. And several things I had in mind. I wanted this to be in like a basement setting. That's why there's that, going downstairs entrance. And over here, I installed windows so that you could just imagine when you're from here, like you could see the outside part where light is pouring through. Or maybe it's more like a tunnel. You know what? Let me just draw on top. Let's pick red. Let's see if that works. Does that work well? Good enough. Yeah, maybe, stop saying, So perhaps it goes upwards, kind of like, basically imagine this window. This is the basement. The stairs go up from here. Perhaps it's spiraling and you're coming all the way down to the basement, to the tavern, down the stairs. Here it's all covered with rocks, but there's like a tunnel where light is pouring through and into the tavern. And same here. Let's put this on full screen. Yeah, so let me just hide that for a second. All right. Full screen. Okay. I'll explain what I was designing. Okay, first of all, this whole thing is done in 3-point. All right? And I'll prove that to you. Yeah, let me just call up a new layer. If I just trace these lines back, my terrible lines, whoopsie. Oh no, they're gonna know I can't draw. They're gonna know, bro. They're gonna know you're not an actual artist. You're just a poser. So if you were to just go over my lines, you could see that there's, the rough grid. These lines are pointing downwards, and somewhere at the bottom of this page where we can't see, let me zoom out, it leads to the third vanishing point, and these ones that are heading this way and these ones are heading that way. All three of them create a 3-point vanishing point. Why did I do 3-point? Because it creates dynamic shots. It makes the shots more interesting. It's almost like, I could say like for this reason, because it just makes sense. It's as if you take your camera and you tilt it when you're doing a downward shot. You're tilting it a bit, and you take that whatever picture you want to take. That creates a 3-point. So it has more of a natural look and feel to it. When your eyes are actually wandering from this side to this side, it's as if you're looking down into this location. That's the technical part. Second thing I want to point out is, let's see, put a new one. If you noticed, I got this column here, and I got this column here. Well, it really just, this whole part, let's just cut it from here, repeats on, what in the world? Yeah, it repeats on this side. Why did I do that? Because when you repeat design elements, it creates balance. First of all, it creates balance. Second of all, it shows the perspective. That's not the best way of putting it. Yeah, I mean, how do I put this? It's good design balance, all right? There you go. Let's put it that way. Because if you were to put something else on this side, like some bubble, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's there, and then you have this structural column that's part of the foundation, it just doesn't make sense that you got this weird object instead of repeating the elements that are holding this place up. And, it would look stupid. The only exception I could think of is when you're repeating a design, and because it creates balance, creates harmony, there's continuity, it shows off the perspective. In depth, in this case, is not the best example. It's not like where you're going off into infinity and you're repeating that same, same element repeating itself, so it creates that perspective illusion. That's not the case. What is the case? What was I talking about? Right. So, yeah, part of the foundation. These two. Sorry, brain fart. Honestly, I don't even know what I was saying there. Just keep that in mind. Like, here's another example, actually, on this side. You'll see these arches. Same arch. And the pillars for the arches. And it repeats here. Right? And if you were to trace these, you'll notice that they're sitting on the grid. If I was to do something else here, a different design, it would be off balance. It's almost, I guess, I'm just thinking about it in the moment. I guess the best way to look at it is having, dividing your face and there's symmetry. Of course, like, we're not all perfect. I'm not talking about perfect symmetry, but you'll see two eyes, you'll see two sides of the nose, you'll see the two sides of the lips, you'll see the two ears, almost like that. So, yeah, so earlier I had a bit of a brain fart. I remember now what I wanted to say. The only exception to putting something else here or something else here and still having a beautiful design is, first of all, building that structure, whatever it is, or it doesn't have to be a structure, just the pillars, something that is part of the foundation of the design, and particularly in these architectural, I can't even say that word, these environment designs. All right, let's leave it there. The only exception is you first of all draw the same thing over in perspective. All right, so you make it as complex as you want to make it or simplified, whatever it is that you want to do. So in my case, this is what I did. The only exception to this rule, at least I think would make sense, is first of all, draw both sides. Make sure they're balanced, make sure they look good on both sides, and flip them. Like if it's paper, you could flip your paper, upside down. If you're drawing on paper, or put it up against a mirror to see mistakes, so you can see it from a fresh point of view. And if you're doing it digitally, you could flip your canvas. Whether if it's a Photoshop or Painter, I'm sure you could go into the settings and set that for a shortcut. So anyway, I'll go back to what I was doing. After you build your structure, the exception is you start breaking parts of it. All right, you start breaking parts of it. Let's pretend this part's eliminated. Let's maybe for some reason this one is extended, and yeah, maybe some of these stones are on the ground, parts missing. Maybe there's like a crack in here, foundational crack that's just going everywhere. Why do I say first build it? Make sure it actually makes sense. It looks reasonably good before you actually destroy one side. Well, because if you were to draw it broken, it would look stupid. Honestly, it just would look dumb. It would show that you're being lazy in your design efforts. You would just trying to basically, it's like, oh, since I'm gonna break the structure in my drawing, why don't I just draw it broken? Well, when you're drawing, okay, when you're drawing and when you're designing, always relate it to how things are built in real life. So if this tavern was built, okay, human beings had to get together and actually build it, in steps, in stages. And when they built this place, let's pretend they actually built this place, they weren't thinking about, I'm gonna break this pillar, this foundational pillar on one side purposely. No, they were thinking about, let's build it as efficiently as possible so it holds up this tavern, so that the people coming in here can actually enjoy their time and not be crushed to death, right? That would suck. Getting off work, you're finally having your mead, and anyway, it's the same thing. People don't build things broken unless they're really bad. I don't know, just terrible workers and they just don't care. But generally speaking, people don't do that, right? They build things properly, and over time, it starts to break down. So treat your designs that way. First, draw it, build it, right? Once it's done, then it's like, you know what? Let me add some character. Let me add some life to this. Let me add a backstory to this. This place has been around for a long time. People have, it's got plenty of traffic, foot traffic, in and out, weather, different whatever reasons over time. Perhaps this is built out of wood, and the wood started cracking, and it was just they neglected repairs, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. That's why it looks the way it looks. But anyway, I'm not worried about somebody living here. It's just, if you think that way, your drawings will improve. And it's not always about how well you can draw. It's more, I believe, at least this is my belief, it's more important expressing your design thinking. It's not so much if you're drawing, let's say, for example, one of these, what are they called? Lantern? Not lantern. Torches, right? So if you... Whoa, that scared me. My goodness. It's not the same person from past 2 days. It says no caller ID. Anyway. So let me get back here. So if I was to draw this here, and I wanted to do a whole new design, and if it looked a bit wobbly, well, it's not a good design, but at least the idea is there, right? Versus trying to draw something really, really well. I'm gonna draw a really, really good torch, but I want the torch to be like this. Yeah, it's like you could spend days on that, but if it doesn't look like it fits here and in the appropriate direction based on the layout of your design, you know, what I'm trying to say is like, it's don't focus so much about making that perfect drawing as opposed to let me express my designs and let me push them through functionality, through storytelling. Like, that is more important, and your drawings will improve over time. Of course, there are exercises to do that. Blah blah blah. I'll get to those videos sometime in the future, but that's what I'm trying to stress when I'm explaining some of these things, is don't try to nail it and try to make it absolutely perfect. No point. It's really the function behind it that makes it so fun to look at. Like when you look at this, it's like, wow, I actually want to walk through this place. I want to come here. I want to stop. I want to come through, down here, come down, and wow, look at this crack here. Look at that medieval armor. Look at all these candles. Look at these lanterns. Look at all these tables. Why are these on the ground? Why is this all not even properly lined up? There's a plate here. Was somebody eating? Is somebody about to come stop by and eat? What happens if this was a game? What happens if I go this way? Where does it lead? If I go this way, where does it lead? If I stop by here, do I get to sit on this barrel? Do I get to eat? Do I get to trade? Oh, this thing looks like it lifts. So would I have the ability to lift it and go past here and try to go through this door? And I wonder what's behind that door. What kind of music is playing in here? What kind of crowd is it drawing? Is it the peasants? Is it the middle class? Should I be worried because this place is known for trouble? What kind of alcohol do these people carry? Is it wine? Is it medieval beer, mead? Are there musicians in here? Is there anything I can loot? Is there a quest? Or I need to speak to somebody so that I can continue with my quest. That's what makes it fun, is thinking through these things. It's not so much, let me figure out how to perfectly draw this arch and so on and so forth. No. I guess when you're starting out, that's how you're thinking. But I'm really trying to stress the fact that learn to have fun. Honestly, learn to have fun, because drawing can be stressful. It really can. There's just so much about it that you can tackle, and most of what you're going to do is naturally not going to work out, and because it's not going to work out, it will frustrate you, and when it frustrates you, you don't want to draw anymore. So it defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose of just having fun. And that's what I did when I was drawing this. I had fun, and I drew over. I'm quite sure I did not do this in one day. It took, I don't know how many days. I would, go to Starbucks. I don't know where you're from, if you guys have that, even though I'm drinking a McDonald's coffee right now. I'd grab myself a coffee, sit at Starbucks, and continue with these fun designs. yeah. So anyway, that is my medieval tavern design. I think I covered pretty much everything. Oh yeah, if you're wondering how I did these lines over here, it's a pencil brush inside Painter, so it makes it look more like a pencil sketch when you're, a little bit of shading. It's really just a graphical element that I added. It doesn't actually benefit my design. Like the structure of my design will not change based on these little things I've done. It's just it just adds a bit of what's that word? Better presentation. There you go, better presentation. And I want to show. Let's see. Yeah, and here is a bit of coloring. I don't think coloring is the best definition. It's really just value. I worked on, you know what, let me grab another piece of paper, or layer I should say. I focused on just dividing, just adding value, basically dividing all the designs from each other. Obviously the value isn't strong enough for me to remove the line art, so I left the line art in there. I added extremely blue light coming in, so it must be a super blue moon. Now that I think about it, that's insane amount of blue coming in here, pouring through. I got the candles, playing with warm light versus cool light. This place is obviously it's really dark down there, so you need the torches. You need these, what are they called? Yeah, I guess that's called a lantern, right? Candles everywhere, light from torch, more candles, the moonlight. So clearly up here is exposed where, I guess it's like a main door. Now that I'm looking at the design, I guess if I could think beyond this place, beyond this entrance, there's going to be some kind of a door where you can come through. I got the stones, enter, and the light is just pouring through, bouncing up that wall. And in here, you got, and yeah, another thing is I wanted to do is divide up. I don't want the whole place to be made of the same material, which makes it boring, right? Because it's not like they're gonna go and build this place. So this is just a fantasy place, right? So why not have fun with it? I added these cool tiles that are highly reflective. The different tiles for this part. I installed stones here. I designed stones, different stones here that are all cracked up. I got more cracks in here and different design patterns, different tiles installed. Here I got these mega tiles. I guess they're like the cheaper material. And let's see. Let me zoom in. What else could I talk about? Yeah, some of these bottles have, just fallen there. There's the barrel that hasn't been lifted. More bottles back here. I guess this could lead into the entrance where they have the little kitchen where they're making your food, bringing it out here. Have be 5 coins, please. No, I can't pull that accent. Or that could be the merchant. And there could be a guy here. Show him here. Sitting down. Not the best sitting. Having a drink. Communicating. It could be more characters or shady characters in here. There could be, I don't know, so much going on. There could be more material here for whatever reason, because this place is just a mess and They haven't got the time to sort things out. Maybe some, weapons are just sitting here because the guys, they're playing card here, feel very comfortable with leaving their material, their weapons there. And even though that's a terrible idea, if a fight breaks in this place, like, whoa, might not make it there. Got this flag. I guess it represents the territory, coats of arms. Obviously, I have no reference for this. Is just like the French logo, the French sign. Excuse me, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I know it's like a French symbol, some sort. So I just wanted to put something like that in here because it looks cool. Anyway, that's really it. Not everything really makes sense. Like, for example, these stones here, they're more, they look like Arabian stones, and you probably would not find it in a place like this, but hey, it looked cool, so I wanted to add some of that in here. It seems to fit the design, right? Once I tested this out, I'm like, okay, I like it. I got these metal mesh windows installed so that nobody can break in. It would be really hard to break in, right? Harder to break in. People sitting there drinking pints and playing card. You're going there looting. Yeah, having conversations, getting quests, and can I get 2 points, please? Of course, that'd be 3 coins. Have you got anything to eat? Yeah, have you got the coin for it? So conversations like that, obviously, all has to be in an English accent because everybody spoke English back then. Obviously, it's not true, but it just sounds good. And if it sounds good, well, it's going to be added into entertainment. So anyway, that's the video for today. Thank you so much if you've tuned in up to this point or even given this video a chance. Here's my tavern, medieval tavern design, all the way through. And as always, like I mentioned, if you've been watching my video from 2 days ago, I mentioned that I want to do these videos. So art-related videos, and I also want to always mention a biblical message. And today's message is straightforward. The gospel of Jesus is that we have all sinned against God by lying, stealing, cheating, blaspheming his name, disobeying our parents, fornicating in our hearts, at least in our hearts. For example, looking at a girl or a guy, it depends on which gender you are. And when you look at Jesus said, if you look at a girl and you lust in your heart, if you look at a woman, if you lust in your heart, you have already committed adultery in the eyes of God. If you have hatred for somebody, if you're angry at somebody unrighteously, that's considered murder. So, that goes both ways. So if you're a guy looking at a girl and lusting, or if you're a girl looking at a guy and lusting, and so yeah, that represents us sinning against God, breaking God's 10 commandments. And the other side is that Jesus is the only one that lived the perfect life that we can never live. He died the death that you and I deserve, so that most of you probably don't understand what I mean, but some of you can relate to that, is that we as Christians understand that when we repent, which means changing your mind towards sin, that you turn away from sin. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, you're going to be sinless. It just means from now on, you're going to fight those things through prayer and reading the Bible, and you're going to abandon that lifestyle, your old self, and you're going to ask God for forgiveness, put your trust and faith in him, because you understand that there's nothing you can do, absolutely nothing you could do in your lifetime to make yourself perfect. Only only God can make you perfect through what Jesus did on that cross. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that message made sense. If you have any questions, just drop a comment. Not like I get a flood of comments where I can't really reply to most of them. It's it's wide open. You want to comment? We'll have a discussion. Until tomorrow.